Hi Mark, thanks for joining us on Blue Notes today.
Really pleased to be here, Alicia.
Talking more about technology and specifically around in projects. For medium to large scale projects, what do you see as the largest emerging challenges for these types of projects?
Certainly one of the things that we've begun to discuss more broadly is what we call the value delivery framework or landscape. And what it really means is incorporating all the choices in terms of processes, tools, capabilities that are necessary to deliver in small, medium, and certainly large scale projects and programs. So things like traditional project management techniques are still essential, especially in large, complex programs, but you also need to incorporate new and emerging practices such as agile and iterative type approaches, design thinking to make sure that you bring in the voice of the customer, because we see in the highest and best performing organizations, they're able to capture the voice of the customer more readily. So for us, it's helping organizations and individuals incorporate the full range or spectrum of practices to help enable success ultimately.
That's really great to hear. At ANZ, we're using a lot of human-centered design at the moment to really get that voice of the customer into how we deliver better products and services.
Yeah, well, it's essential because one of the things we've spoken about before is we don't do projects and programs because we're enamored with them. We'd like to see something come out of them, right? So, and what is that? Ultimately, it's about value or benefit to the customers, whether it be an internal customer and an internally facing project or program, but also externally facing. So the more we can focus on what the customer needs and delivering that value and developing the project and program, the more successful you'll be.
So thinking about the Pulse of the Profession, which is your flagship research article that you bring out each year, this year you again talk about the role of the executive sponsor as being the number one driver of project success. Could you elaborate on that for us?
Sure. So not only in Pulse of the Profession, which is our annual study that comes out that kind of sets the platform for the year, but it really across all of our research. We did a multivariate regression analysis against all the research, and the number one success factor in projects and programs is engaged executive sponsor. And understanding the role that they play, not just at the beginning, putting their support, signing their name perhaps to some internal documents, but it's really about understanding the value, communicating the value of the project and program throughout the life cycle, breaking down barriers and silos that ultimately could impede progress, and supporting it all the way through launch into operations or to the customer. And that role is not well understood in organizations. So many organizations have taken the opportunity to define it clearly so everyone knows what that role is. They train in development against that role, but many organizations leave it to chance. So you may be tapped on the shoulder to become a sponsor of a major program, but have no real idea what that role is. And there are specific skills and behaviors that you need. The chief among them is you have to have the ability to micromanage, but not the tendency to micromanage. And that's where we see success in organizations, when they know what they should do, but they stay in back and allow the teams to operate and break down the barriers across the organization.
Now, the title of the Pulse this year is Success in Disruptive Times. Could you walk us through what the key tenets are that would lead to success in these times?
Sure, I discussed one, which is the value delivery landscape. So incorporating the right practices, processes, tools, necessary for that type. So we know that fit matters in organizations. Our value of project management research from 2008 pointed out clearly that fit in an organization is important. So understanding that fit is critical, especially in disruptive times. Then when you factor in the rate of change and the rate of disruption, then you need a whole different skill set in the individuals that are leading these projects. So you move from project manager to project leader, ultimately to project executive, and really you're incorporating executive level skills in the leaders of these major initiatives in your organization. And that's important because over time we need to develop the skills for the next 3 to 5 years, not for the last 3 to 5 years. And organizations that have that focus, a defined career path, ongoing training and development, have identified the skills and behaviors that are necessary, and then support the teams with them, are more successful.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Blue Notes today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks again.